love bombed so hard that you thought you found the one, but then they dropped you like a Wi-Fi signal. I love this. We get into the full video, I just wanted to say we are not only talking about narcissistic disorder. Narcissistic disorder is 1% of the population, and even though I'm a therapist, I will not be diagnosing anyone. The truth is there's just a lot of people with narcissistic traits and a lot of us that are thinking, I'm not narcissistic at all, I'm fine, I'm very empathetic. Even we display these traits. So we'll get into that to recognize the narcissist, but also recognize the narcissist within you, because this is the part that attracts them the most. So first of all, how to spot the narcissist before you lose yourself, your confidence, and your Netflix password. That's another good one. Before you are giving up all of these things for those people that eventually will be the greatest villain in our story. But at the time, you're willing to give everything, give your heart away. So why? Why do we do it? Because we tend to blame them for our actions, right? That I gave you all of this and I thought you that, blah, 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 right? So you tend to blame that on the person. And that's my point one. Why do we blame? If you wouldn't be judging this person from the very beginning and you wouldn't need something from them, it would be crystal clear for you that they are not a good partner. So if you haven't had any expectations or judgment within you, that would be clear for you. So number one strategy is just to assess for your own judgment, for your own expectations from that person, and that will point you to your childhood wound. So as you are diagnosing, okay, where is this coming from? Why do I need this person to come through for me in that specific way? Why do I need them to want me, to love me so much? And of course we all want love, but needing it is much different than wanting it. So if you're believing that I need that relationship to be okay, otherwise I'm not okay, there's something wrong with me, if I don't have a family by that time, there's just end to everything. If this is your perspective, no wonders you are attracting narcissistic people, because they can see your weakness. They can see that you just need it so bad, you want it so bad, and you're willing to sacrifice all of your boundaries, all of your personal truths just to be with them. And this is what is driving the narcissistic people to you. If you are suppressing all of this, if you're suppressing your true calling, true needs, your personal experience, your perspective, you are most likely holding on to a lot of resentment. Strategy number 2, releasing your resentments. So around the judgment, around the victim mentality, when you're pointing a finger at that narcissist, that's when it all begins. But where is that coming from? Usually it's coming from suppressed emotions. We need to judge, we need to find someone to blame because it doesn't make sense to us. Why do we feel so strongly about this person, about ourselves, about everything in between? So we need to point the finger and be like, no, you made me feel that way and that's all your fault. And we go about that with this consistent belief that it's this person's fault, and it makes it all okay because it's their fault. You don't have to do anything about it. But then all of this is just boiling inside of you. All of the anger and resentment, I find a lot of it is in the throat. There's some in the liver as well, other parts of the body, but a big one I find a lot of people point here, that I'm just so angry and I can't maybe say it, I can't express it, and your throat is just choked up. If you're experiencing that, it just means that you're not expressing enough, you're not living your truth enough, and the narcissist will see it. It's kind of like a beam coming from your throat, saying to them, hey, I'm here, join me, because I will not say anything. I'll fall for you and I'll hold my resentment towards you. So even though I am not a narcissist, having a disorder. However, I'm an only child. I was given a lot of things, and my mom would allow me to do a lot of stuff that other kids maybe couldn't do. And she installed in me this belief that I'm amazing, which is great, and it really gave me so much confidence. She was saying how amazing I am and this and that, and giving me things, and always providing. Anytime I wanted something was given to me. So I grew up with a belief that it's just for me to take. Right? So in your subconscious belief, it's like, of course, like, I'll take it. It's mine. Like, I like it. I want it. And therefore, the narcissistic belief is created. So I had to discover this for myself through my relationships. And only when we fall deeply, deeply in love with someone, and sometimes with a narcissist is the hardest thing, because you're like, oh my God, I felt so deeply and I thought this person is X, Y, and Z. So you've opened your heart completely, and then they hurt you. So all of that hurt, if you can process this and make sense of it for you, not only that they did that, if you can come through for yourself and process your resentment towards them, that's such an amazing strategy to not to have to go through this ever again. So what happened for me in my relationship was that I was just doing everything I wanted, right? I was like, oh, I would like this, this is what I want for a relationship, this is what and I just made up a story of like, oh, I want it. He's not saying anything, so I'm just like, here's what I want, here's what I want. What I was not realizing was that he was just bottling up his own feelings and not telling me stuff. So yes, I was performing certain narcissistic behaviors, but also because this person was not standing up for themselves. And even if he did say something, it was very cryptic, it was very under the radar, very much, I don't want to hurt you. And eventually it just disappeared. Eventually I said, look, you don't want to be together, you're not asking me to be official, then what is it? What's going on? You know, you say you're falling in love with me, you're saying all of these things, and then you're not contacting me for XYZ amount of time, or you're being a bit distant. What is happening? So I think from both sides there's a certain amount of narcissistic traits being pointed out. One person is just taking, and not maybe listening enough. Maybe I wasn't listening enough or seeing enough because I didn't want to. But then he wouldn't say anything because he didn't want to hurt me, and he didn't want the experience of hurting me. So it wasn't really done for me. I was like, I don't care, just tell me, you know, I can handle the truth. But then he chose not to, because it was too hard for him to go through emotions with me and say because of me. So that's quite narcissistic too. You're denying the person the truth. You're denying the person the authenticity. And perhaps I was not able to receive it as much, but I was open to it, right? So a narcissist will have a very strong personality. But then when the partner of the narcissist is just bottling things up, not wanting to process anything, not wanting to be the bad guy, not wanting to be the bearer of bad news, not wanting to process his own resentment, well, that really just destroys all the connection. Because you're thinking that you're doing one thing with a person, and that's a whole another story in their mind. They just didn't want to tell you because they didn't want to hurt you. So if you're the person that, I just don't want to tell them, I don't want to be a burden, I don't want to be a problem, well, then you're bottling everything up. If you can process all of that, the beam that calls the narcissist into you is disappearing. Because the more authentic in your expression you will become, then the narcissist will not want to come near you. They will be afraid of you. There might be some picking, there might be some backlash. You might sometimes maybe get someone that is upset at you because you are being authentic towards that situation, but you will no longer be in a relationship with someone that is just openly narcissistic and unkind to you. So even though I do believe that, say, my ex-partner had some nice narcissistic traits, so do I, but then he was not a typical person to like hurt someone deliberately. But then there would be gaslighting, right? So even though he was such a nice guy, He was such a nice guy. Everyone just loved him and adored him. So I was just like so mesmerized. Then it was so confusing for me to actually admit that what he did was in fact gaslighting. But sometimes people do not know they're gaslighting us. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can do. Understand that people don't mean the things they do. Even the horrendous things they don't really mean. It's just pain that they are feeling, want to transport it onto another person, and they think it's just gonna make it better for them, but it never does. So me understanding that him having these issues, not realizing, not comprehending what he's actually doing, positioned me also in that situation. And I don't want to blame it on that, because as I said, there was just not that much of understanding that this person had around it. It just made me feel crazy when I knew I'm not. And that's a strategy number 3. If you feel within yourself that when you're with that person, you feel a bit crazy, or like, I need to fix myself, I need to do all of these things because I'm not good enough, even though you know you're doing well, you know you're doing fine. None of us is perfect. It's all journey for us. But if you're feeling constantly that you need to push through, you need to do more, you need to be better, or that you are crazy for thinking something, that's already a tell. They might not even realize that. So don't go around blaming people for gaslighting, because it might just be their strategy of survival. Understanding that really helped me understand those behaviors much more. The bottom line is you need to have a super strong sense of self. If you know where you're going in your life, you can be independent around that, and then create the understanding of how you can present your perspective as well. If you keep very strong and firm on what you believe in, eventually they will give up. So they just have a big delusion. There's just big delusion in the person's mind if they're performing narcissistic behaviors. So then if you can show it to them, mirror to them, and stand by what you have said, this will be super uncomfortable for them. And they will not know where to go. They will go into loops of perhaps repetition of certain behaviors. And that's how you know for sure. If you're not getting anywhere, there's no solutions, that's another tell. But then what are the warning signs? Narcissists don't come with labels, but they perform drop signs. It will be a smirk. What is a smirk? So they will not be smiling like this, like a normal person would, but they will give you half smile. Like this, for example, right? So they might lift half of their mouth, and you can see it in person's eyes as well. When they're perhaps raising their eyebrows a bit and doing that, like you can already tell there is some contempt in it. If their compliments seem like just bad jokes that they dab at you, even though it might seem like a good thing to say, but ultimately it just makes you feel a bit strange. For instance, oh, this dress is interesting. It's not beautiful, it's not amazing, it's interesting. So what do you make out of it? It's not positive, it's not negative. What is it? They might use those little techniques to make you feel uncomfortable. So again, knowing that, say my ex-partner didn't mean that, but then he would make little comments such as about, let's say, moving to another country, just kind of talking, right? So I said, oh, there's no way I could move to Sweden. It's too cold. And then he said, well, I love Sweden and I would love to move there at some point. I guess it's a deal breaker. So then those little things, when you are not, say, exclusive, the situation is not yet safe for you, and then you hear a person saying these things while already having second thoughts, it will just push you this a bit further, right? So even though it was meant as a joke, but then you can feel that it's not, that you're already not that close because there's no there's no relationship, but then this person will kind of, I like it, so then you don't like it. Oh well, I guess we are not that compatible. So those little signs, those drop signs that you're trying to brush off, you need to really be careful around them. And you should already be talking about it. What did that mean? It quite hurt me. When I would bring things up, then they would be brushed off. That perhaps making a big deal out of something that wasn't anything for them. So there was no acknowledgement of feelings. That's another sign. If you're stating, I feel a certain way, and then they're like, oh, that's nothing. It didn't mean anything. It's fine. So the moment they are brushing it off, it's already a drop sign, because a person that can be compassionate in that moment can be like, oh, okay, like you feel that way, so sorry to hear that, or I didn't mean it like that. This is what I mean. This is what I felt at that time. The problem is a lot of the time they either not feeling anything or they just don't want to tell you. So I believe, for example, in my situation, he didn't know what he felt, and he used this strategy to not to have to talk about it, not to delve deeper into it. But a lot of the time, if you meet someone very mean, like a mean narcissist, like in your face, I don't really care, they might not even feel anything, because there's not that much that a narcissist is feeling. And when I was younger, I was quite similar. So I would just not open up, I would brush things off, and I actually didn't feel anything at the time. I just felt that I have to move on from this, I don't really care. And that's the main type of narcissist. So let's go into that. There's two different types of narcissists. The person that you might be dating and they just nasty, no one likes them, and there's just this vibe around them. That's the main type of narcissist, because everyone can see. But then the Mr. Nice Guy syndrome, you can also call someone that has narcissistic traits. So that's the person that might actually get into a relationship with the very obvious narcissist. So that person that I was referring to, I think that's the best story that I have, because of how the person with these narcissistic traits that are hidden, that everyone likes them, everyone loves this guy, right? But then he would get into relationships with narcissistic women, and he did tell me about it. So then this also shows that one attracts the other. There's just covered narcissistic traits and the ones that are quite visible. So let's say the ex-partners would be out in his face, whereas he would just hold everything in and not say anything. Both behaviors would be considered narcissistic, although this the ex-partner of his would be considered the narcissist in the relationship. And let's say him a Mr. Nice Guy. This is yet another tell that they would have toxic relationships, still holding a grudge towards these relationships, not really seeing where they are going wrong with that dynamic. Why are they staying in these relationships even though they're toxic and they talk badly about these people? Another drop sign, they would not want to know much about you. They will talk about themselves, about their experience and what they want, but they will not be asking you questions, and they would not get emotional about certain things. It's just what they want, what is their fantasy, what they need from you, and that's it. So if there's no questions, if there's no follow-ups, if you're opening up and you just brush to the side, that's another tell. My biggest advice on this topic: get to know yourself, work on yourself, make sure that you don't need a relationship, be very transparent in your communication, make sure to tell people what you think in the kindest way, but still tell the truth. Do what your internal truth tells you to do, rather than be following some idea of what should be done. Even if some people don't like you, maybe some people will leave your life, most likely they will. That's what the inner work is, that you will change the circle of your friends. That you need, when you're upgrading, the people around you will upgrade. And sure, some people will come with you, Perhaps, maybe not, but your world will change. But then your perspective is shifting, your perspective is stronger. So the more expressive you are, the more authentic you are in your expression, the less of an issue the narcissistic people will be, because you are becoming less narcissistic. So they are just not in polarity with you anymore. They are not coming for you anymore because you're on another orbit. They don't exist in that world where there is transparency. It repels them. The more transparency is in the air, the more emotions are welcomed in the air, the narcissist doesn't want to be in that space. So they only come for people that don't trust themselves, don't work on themselves, and perhaps they have that victim's mentality. So they become the villain that the victim kind of craves. So even though you're blaming, pointing the finger, trying not to be hurt by others, automatically you'll get your villain anyway. No matter who that is. This person might even be quite nice and quite good, but it's your villain. It's villain in your story that makes you feel something. They are your mirror. If you are not attracting narcissism, then this is your biggest mirror right now because you're not being transparent. Follow for more tips on dating and relationships, or work with me as a client. I'm a sexual therapist, relationship therapist, and I write books on dating, breakups, and anything love related.